Happy Tuesday. I'm back. It's Brenda Meller with Meller Marketing, bringing you back for another episode of Enthusiastically Self-Employed. And I want to welcome anyone who might be watching us live right now, whether you're watching live on LinkedIn or YouTube. Facebook is giving me a little bit of a glitch lately, Salina. I try to go live and I get a message saying Facebook's not picking up your broadcast. So I feel like the baton dropped there. I don't know what. But at any rate, I am joined today by a very special guest, Salina Beasley. Hey, Salina, how are you doing today?
Good, Brenda. Good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm delighted to have this chat. It feels like it was eons ago when we set this up, and we're finally here in May. While we are getting started, I see some comments that are starting to come in, and the comments, Salina, are kind of like the mic chap. Like, it lets me know, is this thing on? Is the stream thing right? So I see some folks, Ashley, that is joining us as well, and Hitesh is joining us. So for anyone watching, please drop a comment. That way we know the live stream is working. And also we know that who's watching, because it's hard for us to see, when we're doing this virtual presentation, it's hard for us to see who's in the audience. So please continue to drop your comments in there. And while we are waiting for those comments to come in, Salina, you and I met through Digital Course Academy through Amy Porterfield. I was delighted to stumble upon you, and I signed up for one of your, I guess it was like a prep for your course. I was kind of like a behind the scenes, right?
Yes.
And I learned a lot. And I'm so glad we crossed paths, and I'm bringing you on here today. But I want you, if you could, take a few minutes and tell people a little bit about who you are, what you do, and who you help.
Sure. Well, my name is Salina Beasley, and I am a makeup coach, and I work with women in online business that are embracing the power of video to grow their brands. I teach them how to do their makeup, their own makeup. And my specialty is makeup for the camera, because the camera has a mind of its own. So I teach people tips and tricks for how to achieve their best look with authenticity and authority, and for that to translate through the lens.
Wonderful. Well, I know we're going to get a lot of great tips here today. And I have to admit, I don't know if anyone saw, but my name, I said, hoping my makeup looks okay, because it's a little intimidating when you're coming out with a makeup coach. And I've already done like one coaching session. I'm like, I hope I did everything right here today. But I know we're going to get some great tidbits and gems of information from you here today, Salina. And I'll invite our audience to continue to drop your comments in, and you're welcome, because then we know that you're watching along here as well. So keep on going with that. So today, my friends, we are talking about harnessing the power of makeup for a more magnetic on-screen presence. I absolutely love this. And I feel like through the pandemic, so many more of us have gone more virtual, on screen. And I think the world I'm in, being enthusiastically self-employed, I'm surrounding myself with a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of us are expanding out inside of in-person coaching and training to virtual coaching and online courses and more webinars and things like that. So it's really important that we do have a great on-screen presence. So what advice do you have for us here today, Salina?
Well, I think, Brenda, what you said about things changed a few years ago when it comes to how we connect, how we do business, how we bring our valuable message to the world. I never looked at my own face more than I did after the lockdown and we all started working virtually. And I noticed that particularly women, I mainly work, with women,
right?
And these powerhouses in their field, just that had reached, this level of success and achievement, and then their businesses went virtual, and all of a sudden there was this like shrinking back of now that the camera's on, it's like their confidence got cut off at the knees. And I thought, no, we can't have this. Now, yes, the camera unfortunately does have a mind of its own. The mirror image, the image that you see in the mirror when you got ready this morning, Brenda, and you look lovely, but that image is not the same image that the camera picks up. And so when we turn on our camera and we're going, wait a second, this looked great 3 minutes ago in the mirror, and then the camera can make us look tired. It can make us
Mm,
dull. It can make us look
mm,
washed out.
mm,
Particularly, and this is why most of my clients are women. Women, our skin is 25% thinner, more translucent than, say, a man's. So we could be same age, same stage, same uh, field, same level or degree of success or influence. Turn on our cameras, and we're automatically going to look more tired, washed
mm,
out than our male counterpart. It's not
mhm.
fair, but it's just
Right.
that it is. And so, women come to me and they're like, I want the authority and the authenticity to translate through the screen. How do we do this? And I say the makeup is a powerful tool to be able to take your image from looking tired and washed out. And this is especially important for coaches and consultants and those of us that work in a wellness space, those of us that
Right.
work in the mindset space.
Mhm.
When you are encouraging people to integrate balance into their life and to be heart led, the last thing you want to do is turn on your camera and you look like you need a good nap or you look like not as vibrant, not as excited to be delivering this transformational message that you have worked so hard to craft. And so I
Mhm.
try to kind of demystify. Can I make up a
Mhm.
word?
Yeah, absolutely.
Demystify. I like to demystify. Okay, you know what? The camera, as soon as you flip it on, it puts us at an automatic disadvantage.
Mhm.
It just is the nature of the beast. But this is the good news is that we can counter makeup for a camera image that would attempt to hijack the first impression that we want to make when
Yeah.
we show up into these online spaces.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think there's probably a lot of people that are like, "Oh, that's what's going on," right? Like, because I don't look that bad in the mirror, and then I get on the camera and I'm like, "Why is it looking different? Why is it?" And I even have those moments too, Salina, where if I'm not like on doing a LinkedIn live or a training or keynote, whatever, on camera, I have those no makeup days, or I just come on. I call myself fresh faced because I feel like it sounds better,
I like that
right?
term.
But I'll
Yeah.
get on the call and right away I'll say to my client, I'll say, I hope you don't mind, I'm fresh faced today, but I'll still bring the energy with you. And I feel like I
Yes.
have to apologize for that because
Yes.
I think we get used to looking, better with our makeup on. Would you agree with that?
Yes. And I notice it, and now that we're having this conversation, you're going to start to notice it too.
Mm.
A lot of women who, when they, maybe they're leading a live webinar or a live training, they start with making apologies and they go, oh, I didn't
Yeah,
realize that, maybe I need to put on a little more lipstick or maybe, and when we turn our cameras on,
you're on. Yeah.
you're on,
Yeah.
but in a way, it's like if you're going to truly and effectively reach through, you and I have a barrier not only of distance between us, but we've got this screen. And
Yep.
if we're going
Hmm.
to reach through that screen into the story of our listeners, into the heart of our listeners, we have to, as soon as that camera goes on, stop thinking about this.
Hmm.
And if we're conscious of this, I'm not conscious of you. I'm thinking
Right.
about me. I'm thinking about what you think of me. And
Hmm.
so makeup is yes, it is all about the outward appearance, but that is just one side of the coin. There is a
Yes.
whole mindset piece to this that when you're making this up, this is not to make. I think I can't stand the term makeup because makeup sounds like I'm making up for some
Right.
deficiency or I'm
Like
covering
playing pretend or something.
I'm making up. And I like to think about it this way, and just to make sure that I tie a bow on that thought.
Hmm.
When I turn on my camera, Brenda, and I'm with you, I want to be all about you. I want to
Yeah.
be all about your
You don't
story.
wanna be worried about this self-confidence, like, "Oh, she's gonna think less of me because I don't look my best," and I
Yeah,
even, like, jokingly, I put it on my under my name, I said, "Hoping my makeup looks okay," because I feel like, um, we're in a different scenario. I mean, I'm with somebody who's a makeup expert here today and who helps with image consulting, and it's a bit intimidating coming on, but I spent a little bit of extra time doing my makeup today, and I even, like, intentionally chose a different color shirt because I knew that there would be some
Yeah.
there's some colors of I mean, I wore a little bit of a brighter lipstick today because of your advice, but now that I'm on camera, I'm not worried about all of this. I'm more like how I want to take care of my guests and I want to make sure the live viewers are enjoying. Like I don't want to be worried about this. I want to be focused on all of you, right?
And that's the point.
Mhm.
And this is, I believe at the core of me that a powerful message and a confident image hand in hand lead to unstoppable results.
Mhm.
Your makeup has the power to either attract to your message or distract from your message.
Mhm. Mhm.
And too much is distracting. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
I mean, I have talked to people and I'm like, oh, I didn't know you could get your eyelashes to do that. And I'm not
Ah.
listening. I'm not listening to what they are saying. I'm thinking about, I'm kind of lost in too much is a distraction.
Yeah.
Little is a
So how do
distraction.
we know? Because, I even remember it was like a relative I was getting together at a family gathering and she had like a foundation line along her chin and it was a very and I even felt like should I say something to her or not? It was but how do we know? Because I don't think people are going to tell you it's like you're wearing too much makeup or you're
No.
not wearing enough makeup. Your lipstick washes you out. You need
Yeah.
better pop. I mean, how do we know these things?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it starts with asking the question
Mhm.
and asking someone. If I ask my husband, it's like asking a family member,
Whatever.
got these pants. They're gonna be like, no, you look beautiful. You look
Yeah, you
great.
you look beautiful. They're down pat after years of practice. You look beautiful. You look amazing. You look
You look
more
amazing.
beautiful than the day I married you.
Always. So it's not always productive to ask
Yeah.
somebody that is already in your world. You want to ask people, you want, people, and this is why I created my communities because
Mhm.
women will, come into my space and they'll say, how's this color working for me?
Right?
And, and we'll say, we might want to try again. We might want to revisit that, or that looks great, but you might want to go a little bit brighter.
Mhm.
And it's understanding that the world of makeup can be very overwhelming,
Oh my gosh,
but
yes.
it does not have to be. I've had people tell me I walked in the foyer of Sephora and I got so overwhelmed that
Well,
I
I
walked.
was just thinking when you said it's so overwhelming. I mean, what are your thoughts on going to the makeup counter or going to a Sephora or, the Mary Kay parties and things like that? Do you like those approaches because it helps to provide an expert with guidance, or should we try
Mhm.
it on our own, or how do we figure out, those things? What do you think?
Yes and no, because you kind of have to be your own beauty advocate. And you
Yeah.
asked me like, well, okay, well, how do you know?
Yeah.
Well, I firmly believe that there's nobody that's a better expert in their own face and their own ideal look than you.
Mhm.
And the goal is to marry the vibe of the event and the impact and the impression that you want to make with your personality. We don't
Mhm.
want to defy your personality. We don't want to turn you into something that you're not. And, people come to me and they're scared. They're like, I'm afraid that I'm going to look like a clown. I'm afraid I'm going to look like
Aw.
Halloween come early and it's not going to be me. I was like, no, this at the end of the day, I always say the number one makeup rule is there are no rules. And that's
Yeah.
because your personality, your style, your mood, your vibe, your brand is what we want to spotlight and feature. So a bright paparazzi pink lipstick may not be, well, no, that's actually a really great shade for you. But I have clients who work in conservative environments that,
Mhm.
they work maybe in the courtroom or, maybe they're, working with, she works with attorneys. She's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be the, bright, hey, let's go out to the clubs after this is over.
Showtime. Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And so that
Mhm.
you have to take that whole, you have to take your personality and your priority into account that, okay, we're working with a more conservative group.
Mhm.
So let's go with a neutral. Let's draw the attention to your eyes. Let's, maybe go with a more muted neutral color palette. And neutral is not boring. Neutral
Right.
is backdrop. So
Mhm.
understanding why you're choosing your colors and how reflective is it of both your personality and of the audience you're wanting to influence, or the audience you're speaking to. When those
Mhm.
two come together, you just dial into a frequency of influence that is like, yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah,
Now we've got this digital chemistry going here.
I
So
love it. And I wanna point us back to the topic, and, what I
yeah.
loved about this, you talked about harnessing the power of makeup for a more magnetic on-screen presence, and I even think about that magnetic on-screen presence. And in my bathroom, I've got, like, a little lipstick holder, and I've got my stage lipstick,
Yeah.
the brighter, more
Yeah.
powerful shades, and then I've got my everyday, there's, like, 3 or 4 different ones,
Mhm.
with that. So is it just lipstick? Is it eyes? Is it everything together? I mean, when we talk about a magnetic on-screen presence, what makes that up for us?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a fantastic question. And again, we want to demystify this. We don't want it to be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I always start with cheeks. Let's get real specific. Like let's
Okay.
get down to like, what is this? Okay.
Mhm,
So when a
yep.
person comes to me and they're like, I do not wear makeup. I am not in the world of makeup. I'm not a big makeup person. Like, let's just start with
Yeah.
your cheeks. Let's
Mhm.
just, okay, what we want to achieve here, we want it to look like as close to your naturally flushed look. Like
Right.
think like after a rigorous workout, like that peach or pink or copper, if you have a more ebony, skin tone.
Right. Mhm.
That's the blush shade that we want to go for. And it's going to give your face the impression of it's going to give the impression of wakefulness,
Yep.
right? You're going to look alive. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's just if we did nothing else, let's just dial in your blush color. Let's kind of
Blush, yeah.
liven up those cheeks a little bit, okay?
And I started switching the way I do the order I do my makeup. I do obviously the moisturizer and foundation
Mhm.
and loose powder, but then I do blush first
Mhm.
now. I used to do it was kind of like face down, eyes down to the bottom, but now I do blush first and then I kind of go back up here and come down here and I move
Yeah,
around thanks to you. Thanks to your
yeah.
advice on that.
There is once you embrace this, I was going to say harnessing the power of makeup because the
Mhm.
goal, you have to understand the broader goal of makeup is to restore symmetry to the face.
Mhm.
That is a very important quality in establishing a first impression. Okay, so we want to restore symmetry. So how do we do that? Well, you just take our eyebrows for example. So I'll do my cheeks first, and
Mhm.
then no, let me go back here. I do my eyebrows first before I do
Yep.
anything. And you want to
Mhm.
know why? Because your eyebrows are the chief indicator of emotional cue. Have you ever
Mhm.
seen somebody that they look like they have angry eyebrows? I'm trying to
Yeah.
use they may not be angry, but their eyebrows make them look angry.
It's the shape or the direction of the hair or the standing, and I'm looking right now at your eyebrows, and I don't really ever use eyebrow pencils or anything like that.
Mhm.
I've stayed more to my natural color. I feel like your eyebrows are more of your natural color. I mean, what are your thoughts on darkening eye should we? Should we not because it looks fake?
No,
I mean, what do you think?
no, your eyebrow shades should be as that we want this to look natural. Like we
Yeah.
don't want it to look artificial or too thick because think about like the window, I'm looking at my windows, the window treatments,
Yeah.
like I don't want to draw attention to the treatments. I want to draw attention to, I want the eye to go through the window to the view out the
Mhm.
window.
Okay.
So when your
Mhm.
eyebrows are, oh, we could talk an hour about eyebrows.
We could have an eyebrow show. There we go.
You'd be surprised, but not only are your eyebrows an indicator of emotional cue,
Mhm.
but yeah, if they're too thick or they're too dark or it looks too stark,
Mhm.
it's distracting. And that
Yeah.
is the whole goal. The whole goal is to eliminate distractions so that people can get to your message.
Yeah.
But your eyebrows, I in my digital course, I teach eyebrows pretty much first thing because
Mm.
they serve as sort of a map to creating a symmetrical look.
Mhm.
And it serves as like I use my eyebrows as sort of a graph for where to place my blush. How far
Right.
should my eyeshadow should not come beyond the tail end of my eyebrow. So yeah, it
Mhm.
does get a little nuanced and you think, well, it's just your brows. Like, what's the big deal about your brows?
Yeah.
But I've noticed lately this trend. Have you noticed like a laminated look to the eyebrows? Have you I don't know if you've noticed
I
this.
haven't noticed it, but I think you're in the field, so you're, like, definitely more
I
probably
am
attuned.
aware of
Yeah.
it, of women are starting to laminate their eyebrows, and it kind of is like gets their eyebrows looking like more alert and alive.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to say, you look surprised. You look like
Yeah.
the world took you by surprise today.
Right.
Now, if that is, if that's the goal, like if that's what you want to go for, great. But you
Mhm.
have to think about even something like as small as my eyebrows make you look surprised. What does that communicate to your audience? That you're surprised
Yeah.
to see them, that the world has taken you by surprise, and you're not really quite sure about how to respond to it. Like
Right.
you have to think about there's a certain amount of emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
that goes into these decisions that seem small and they seem
Mm.
minor, but they make a big difference.
That's a really good point. So we've talked about our cheeks, we've talked about our eyebrows. What
Mhm.
about, and I sometimes I feel like, should I have a strong lip color versus a strong eye? How do I balance both? Or should I play one down and have the focal point be the other? What are your thoughts there?
Again, you got to let your personality be your guide.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I'm a psychology enthusiast. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm not a psychologist. I don't play one on TV, but I'm an enthusiast. And so I've delved into, color theory. I After we major in cheeks, I do draw the focus to the lips, because even if you didn't do a thing to your eyes, if
Mhm.
your lips and your cheeks are dialed in, it's going to make your eyes look bigger.
Mhm.
So you want your lip color
Mhm.
should be at least 1 to 2 shades deeper than your natural lip color, just
Mhm.
so you don't look washed out.
Right.
But when you're on camera, you can play with your lip color a bit. So when I want to make a statement, like I'm wearing a red today, I'm wearing a warm red lipstick. Now, if we were face to face in my mirror image, it looks a little bit more intense than say if I was like going to go to the supermarket. This would be a little bit of an intense color, but
Right.
it doesn't look like that on camera, does it? Because
No.
the camera, again, washes us out. So I
Mhm.
want to compensate and I want to contend with that with a brighter lip color. And I chose red because I knew I
Mm.
was going to be doing a lot of talking. And red makes a statement,
Yeah.
right? Red is a statement color. So if I'm going to choose, if I want you again not to be going, oh, what color is that lipstick? No, I want you to be paying attention to my message, right? But I want to draw attention to the source of where that's coming from.
I love that, and I think I heard this first from you too. Especially, I mean, we're talking here about, and I'm going to pull the topic up again just so folks can read it, harnessing the power of makeup for a more magnetic on-screen presence. But I've also heard the same philosophy for people that are on stage in
Mhm.
plays and things like that. You wear a bright lipstick and deeper shades of makeup than you would normally because the lights wash you out. And if you see them on stage, they look perfectly made up. If you are off stage, off to the side afterwards, you're congratulating them. You're in person, you're like, wow, they're wearing a lot of makeup. Like it looks like they are. But
Wow.
here, I mean, I think about, yeah, your shade of lipstick is brighter, but it draws your eyes to your mouth. And we're focusing more. We're like on the edge of our seat. Like, what's she gonna say next? Because we're watching and we're more attuned to that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because our eyes are attracted to the color, not
Mhm.
distracted by it. I'm not wearing my paparazzi pink that you'd go like, wow, I need to blink, blank here. But I want you to be attracted to the source of my message
Yeah.
so that, I always say, I have 4 kids. And when I want them to pay attention to what I'm saying, I say, look at me when I'm talking to you.
Right. Yeah.
And in a way, we want to engage our audience, we have to get them to look at you,
Yeah.
while you're talking.
Gotta command the attention. And you
Right.
you talked about red lipstick and you've talked about pink lipstick. I mean, you're not saying everyone has to wear a red lipstick or you don't have to wear a pink, but I heard you say at least 2 shades darker or brighter than your
Yes.
lip the shade of your lips. Is that right? Did I hear that right?
Yes. And
Okay.
so I want to make sure that we understand the deeper a person's skin tone, the
Mhm.
more intense their colors have to be.
Okay.
For
Mhm.
your skin tone. So, I have kind of an ivory beige, and you look like you have an ivory skin tone. Your
Yeah.
skin tone is pretty discernible to the naked eye. The deeper that tone, the more intense your colors have to be. The less
Mhm.
intense you go, then that's when you start to look washed out.
Right.
So I may choose, Brenda, a brighter red that
Mhm.
on an ivory skin tone might look like
I
the
wouldn't like it. I would feel, and there's even a couple of my, lipsticks that I have in my on stage kit, in my bathroom.
Mhm.
Like, I will very, very rarely wear them, but when I do, I mean, they definitely pop on camera, but I almost feel like they're a little uncomfortably dark for me, like a little bit too brownish, reddish. I'm like, it just feels like it's a little bit, but they're not throw outable, if that makes sense. Like, I'm like, I'll hang on to them because I might have another event where I wear those, but
Yeah.
I probably should be pitching it because I think there's a life of span of is it 90 days? Is it 6 months? Is it a year when we should be throwing things out? I mean, there's a lifespan of these
Oh,
things too.
well, I do have a resource that is it's like a makeup expires,
Mm,
and makeup expires at different times. Like you're going to hang
mhm.
on your mascara for 3 months and then you're going to
Yeah.
chuck it. But you can hang on to a lipstick for a year,
Okay.
and so, but yes, it does expire. Since we're on the topic of lips, can I give you this is like my fail safe.
Yes.
If you want to go to your lipstick collection, as soon as this call is over, you can do this trick and you'll be like, okay, so that is the color I should wear on camera versus this color.
Okay.
So I have two different shades of red lipstick.
Mhm.
So you can do this with any colors that you have.
Okay.
And I want you to, do you see my forearm?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to burn myself.
I know, it looks like a burn mark on there.
This is the
Oh,
burn
it
mark.
is. I thought it was the lipstick.
I should use the other one.
Right.
Okay, I want you to make just a stripe.
I'm gonna make this a little wider so we can see what you're doing here. Okay. A stripe on your
You make a
wrist. Okay.
stripe. You can do this. Listen, you can do this all the way down your arm. Do your whole lipstick collection if you want to.
Oh,
Okay?
okay. I like
Line it
that.
all
Okay.
up. I'm going to do two for now. Line it all up. These are two shades of red.
Yeah.
But in the mirror, I'm like, wow, they both look pretty good. They both work with my skin tone. They both work with my skin undertone, which is another conversation. But you're going to do this. Take a picture of it with your phone and turn the picture to black and white.
Okay.
The color that stands out the most against your skin, the color that's the highest contrast, is the one you want to wear on camera.
Is it always going to be the darker shade though?
No.
Really?
Not
Okay.
always the darker shade. Oftentimes it's the brighter shade. So
Okay.
I have these are two shades of red, but if I lined up like a pink, a berry, depending on your skin tone and undertone, you can do this, turn it to black and white. And it's almost like a map of like, oh, that's the one I should wear on camera because it has the higher contrast. And
Interesting.
all contrast is how the color stands out against your skin. And it's going to look different on you than it would on me, than it would on the next person.
Interesting. So we've already got, I think I've got that checklist of like when to throw out makeup from you. And speaking of, I probably have to throw out a lot of those stage lipsticks I was talking about earlier. And then we learned a technique for looking for the best lipstick shade if we're going to be on camera. I love it. I want to engage our audience too, Salina. And I feel like we could go on for hours about this conversation, but I want to bring them in and see if there's anyone who's watching right now that has any questions for Salina. Don't be shy. This is your chance to ask any questions. And if you're a little bit shy about asking a question, you could do the I have a friend technique. You could say, I have a friend who doesn't really like to wear makeup. Is that okay? Or you could use that in your example. And you might be here listening because you're doing more in-person speaking engagements or maybe in more in-person coaching engagements or things like that. And you have some questions about makeup generally. Don't be shy. It's great to have an expert sitting in the virtual chair here that we can ask questions to as we're waiting to see if those questions come in. So I've enrolled in your makeup course and I did like the before and after photo too, with what I learned from you. And any pointers or tips that we haven't covered that you want to make sure that we address in here today?
Yes. And this one is, we've gotten really practical.
Yeah.
Now we're going to kind of cover the other side of that coin here. I had a woman make a comment to me in a message last week, and she said, if my potential client cares so much about what I look like, I don't want to do business with them anyway.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. That's I can see where your mind would kind of go there, because what we're talking about, again, Makeup, we associate it with we associate it with I have to make up for some visual deficiency.
Mhm.
I really want to flip that script here. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, I want to imagine, Brenda, the way that you look is the least interesting thing about your business.
That I think that's like we wanna get past that, right? You don't want people to go out, "Wow, she doesn't look like sh," sometimes when I don't have hair and makeup, "Are you feeling okay?" We don't want there to be the distraction. We want it to be, let's move past that. And years ago, I worked with an image consultant, and she said the same thing. We were talking about attire and what to wear, and she's like, "You don't want people to notice what you're wearing.
No,
You
you don't.
you want the focus to be on the knowledge and the expertise that you have, but you also don't want to focus on what you're wearing because it's a mismatch with your brand." Is
Okay, yes. And here's the okay, Brenda, say I invite you over to my house, okay?
Mhm.
And you and I you've not been in my house before, you've not been in my space. And I opened the door and I'm wearing a bathrobe, I have a towel on my head. I've got,
Mhm.
little boy, I've got 3 boys, I've got little boy underpants, on the
Right?
on
It
the
happens, yep.
TV's blaring, the dogs are going nuts. You at that threshold of that first impression that you have with me and my space and my world, you're gonna go, oh, uh, did I get the time? Did I come at the
Is now not a good time? Did you not say Monday at 7? I don't know what
right?
happened here,
And
right?
all of a
Yeah.
sudden, it's going to be this. And now I could approach this with like, hey, Brenda, this is the way it is. This
You're a
is what
mom too. Come on in, grab a kid, grab some Legos. We're gonna play, it's all
yes,
good.
yes. But I want to make sure, especially this is key for those of us that we are bringing people into our brand and into our businesses for the first time.
Mm,
Our image is it's an unspoken. It can send the message, and I want it to send the message that
yeah.
Linda, I was expecting you.
Yeah.
I'm prepared for you. I'm so glad that you're here. Now, when I say that your image is the least interesting thing about your business,
Yeah.
compare it to the foyer of my house is the least interesting environment in my house.
Mhm.
Not a whole lot happens in the foyer. We pass through it. We don't really camp out in the foyer. We want to
Right.
get to the living room. We want to share our stories. We want to get in the kitchen and cook something up. But what
Mhm.
happens at the foyer? What happens at that threshold is a person goes from an outsider to an insider. A
Sure.
person
Yeah.
goes from a stranger to a welcomed guest. It's a
Mhm.
define, even though we're passing through, we don't want to stay there. It's a defining opportunity to
Mm.
send the message with, and this is your image, to send the message, I was expecting you. You came
Yeah.
at the right time. It's perfect. Your timing is perfect. And
Making them feel welcome, absolutely. And I see a couple comments that are starting to come in, and I see one. It says LinkedIn user, and the reason it says that is either you have your profile locked down a little bit with your privacy settings, or you haven't enabled third party. I will send you a blog later to show this person how to enable that. But this person says, Salina, I need to put on makeup when I'm in meetings. I've been so comfortable just turning on my computer and my sweater and going into work mode. So I mean, they're talking about just doing working from home for an organization, doing your makeup, because I think we got really comfortable during the pandemic of not getting made
yes,
up and going out, right? But it's still, this person's like, I need to put on makeup when I go into meetings because I need to feel more comfortable. So the tips you're sharing are not just for people that are looking to build a magnetic presence because they're course creators or speakers or consultants. This is for everyone, right?
it should. Yes, once you learn how to master choosing the right colors for you and
Mhm.
applying them to restore that balance and symmetry to your face.
Yeah.
Yes, these techniques transfer whether you are, meeting somebody face to face. It's just when you
Mhm.
when you turn on a camera, you have to contend with your camera angle. You have to
Yeah.
contend with that color looked great in the mirror and it might look great for a lunch meeting, but on camera, it's the camera has a mind of its own. So
Yeah.
understanding that the demand is different, but the application techniques are the
Yeah.
same. And the
Sure.
color application, it's the same. So yes, it will impact whether you're face to face, whether you're virtual, it will impact the influence you have on your viewer.
I like that. Influence is such a key word there. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is the same person or not. It says LinkedIn user. I'm going to assume it might be somebody different, but they're asking, the question of you, Salina. They don't wear a lot of makeup. What would you recommend as a must do? And I've even had these days myself. I don't have 5 minutes to do the full face.
No.
So what's the bare minimum that you would say?
Okay. Bare minimum. One of my favorite trainings is the 5 must-have colors. 5.
Okay.
There are 18 decillion color combinations. Okay, which is probably what makes stores like Sephora and Ulta so overwhelming. Is I don't know where to start all these colors. 5.
Yes.
Okay. I mentioned cheeks, lips, and I'm 3 eyeshadow shades. Okay, you want just a base sort of neutral mid-tone eyeshadow that you put on your lids. You want an accent shade that's a little, you'll notice you might notice it right here. I have it in the corners
Can I
of my
pull you?
eye.
Do you mind if I pull you up a little bit larger? Because I feel
Yeah,
like
that's
as
fine.
you're talking right now, I'm just gonna switch
Yeah,
our camera angle here. I have to figure out how to do this. Give me a second.
yeah,
Okay, there we
absolutely.
go. So let
Okay,
me zoom you in a little bit, and you can lean in too as you're talking because I think that will
okay.
help us.
So, and I'll use I got a brush here to kind of give you, okay. So cheeks and lips. Okay. If we did nothing else, that would make your eyes look bigger. It would make
Mhm.
you look more awake and more alive. So if you're not a big makeup person, cheeks and lips, you're doing great. But if
Okay.
you want to dial in your eyes, you're going to go with just a mid-tone shade on your lid. Okay.
Mhm.
This can be a neutral, a neutral shade. I have sort of like I have hazel eyes. I wanted to bring out the green. So I kind of wore like a pink base shade here.
Yep.
And then I put a little accent here just in the corners of my eyes. Notice
Okay.
it's deeper.
Yep.
It creates a little, we want it to pop. An
Mhm.
accent color should not
Yeah.
be obvious. It should just be a little pop, just a little pop of color. And finally, I use the third eyeshadow shade. So this is 3, 4, and 5. I call it a highlight shade. And it is a light neutral shade that I just put right underneath my brow bone
Oh yeah. Okay.
here. And that is going to create, I want to create the impression of lift.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I want my eyes to look brighter. It's a little, okay, so I was a vocalist. My first career was a vocalist. And then I taught vocal lessons forever. And I used to teach my vocal students to raise your eyebrows when you're singing. Did you
Mhm.
notice what happened to my voice?
Yeah.
Okay. Just creating that lift in this area of your face, it changes your vocal inflection.
Mm.
You want to
Mhm.
sound more excited about your offer. If you want
Yeah.
to, look and sound alive, just these small changes that you make. I did it again. My vocal inflection went up.
I love it. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I'll give you our last question here for us from Darlene. Hey, Darlene, thank you for watching. Darlene asks you, well, how do you coach makeup application virtually? And I hear what you're saying, Darlene. Like if I go into like a Sephora or an Ulta, like they can walk up and they can help you. But how do you do this, Selena? How do you do this
Yeah.
virtually?
It's a great question because I work exclusively virtually. So I
Mhm.
have students and clients all over the world, and we hop on a call very much like this.
Mhm.
And do a whole personal profile to discover your skin tone, your skin undertone. Okay, let's explore what colors first are going to look best on you so that when you go, I have students who tell me that they take my color key into Sephora and they hold it up next to the colors
Oh, that's
and
brilliant.
they know, okay, these are my colors and
Mhm.
these are the ones I need to choose. And then we take into account your face shape, your feature size, any special features of your face. And the application is going to look different on, say, a person with an oval shaped face versus a person with a round shaped face. So we
Mhm.
take into account, and we can do this I do this exclusively. I do it virtually. And lots of diagrams, lots of showing you, okay, here,
Yeah. But it's also I think it's like I mean, what you were just saying, I mean, I had a certain way of doing my makeup, but I was on a virtual session we all started with fresh faces at the beginning,
Mhm.
no makeup at all. And I have to say, Selena, you were brilliant because you're like, okay, get everything out. We had everything in front of us and we were on Zoom and we had a mirror, I think, next to us. And you're like, okay, here's the order that we're going to do things in. And you would explain what to do, where to place it. You would even talk about, different angles and where things should line up. You
Yeah.
can do that virtually. You don't need to be holding my hand and grabbing the brush and pointing to my face. And I think part of this, it's almost better. I don't want to say better, but because you are doing it virtual, you are doing teaching the student how to do themselves, like the teach a man to fish, teach a woman to makeup, basically is what you're doing, because you're not going to be there with us. You're not our personal makeup artist. So you are empowering us by telling us how to do these techniques, right?
Yeah. So you asked, what's the difference between doing this and like going into a Sephora and having them
Right.
show me, or going to I think you said a Mary Kay party, and having
I mean, I've invited to those before, and they're good. They're good sale, and it's usually a friend, so you feel like you have to buy at least $80 worth of things before
sure.
leaving.
Yeah. And these sales women are very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But they have to sell product.
Right. Right.
Okay. So that color, it's kind of like, unless that's a good color for me.
Mhm.
And that's when I say be your own beauty advocate, so that you don't walk into the department store, and I'm not questioning anybody's integrity, but to be able to go, you know what, that I get that you need to sell product, but I know that that's not my color. Like, I know that, especially I'm going to be on camera, and I know I need to dial in the intensity. I'm going to go for a little brighter look, so
There's a vested interest. I mean, you want to make people, you want to help people look good on camera, regardless of what products they use, whether it's the products they own or new products. Whereas I think you have to think about, when you're going into a store or going to a party, there's a vested interest. They're trying to sell you product before you leave. And I think that's
that's
that's a
okay.
good point.
Yeah.
I want to start to round up our conversation here today. And as I do so, I'm going to pull up your LinkedIn profile up on screen here, and I'll invite folks that are watching to invite you to connect. Are you open to new connections on LinkedIn, Salina?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. And I see that you've enabled creator mode, and I can tell that because I see that you have the talks about hashtags at the top of your
Mhm.
profile. So I'll let people know, if you go to Salina's profile on LinkedIn, you're going to see the default button will say follow. I'm already connected with her, so mine says message now, but the default button will be follow. So if you want to connect with Salina, you've got to click on the more button. And then underneath that, you'll see an option which will either say personalized invite or connect. Make sure that you mention that you saw Salina on the interview with Brenda Meller. Name drop me, so then she'll know where you're coming from on there. And I want to give you a huge shout out and kudos, because when we first set the call, I said, do you mind if I give you a piece of advice? And you said, sure, what? And I said, set up a company page, because prior to that, over to the side here where it says about face image consulting, it had like a gray avatar in there. And I said, that creates, legitimacy for your business, just like coming on camera and having your makeup done creates legitimacy for you on screen, having that business page. And I see that you had it set up. So delighted to see that for you.
I did. Oh, Brenda, you are such a wealth. And everyone that I've connected with in your circle is like, I know Brenda everything she teaches is gold. And I'm like, I know, we learned so much from you.
Oh, well, I am delighted to hear that. And I want to pull up your website, because you have shared so many great gems with us today about our on-screen presence, about getting ourselves made up and feeling and looking our best and having confidence on screen as well. So can you just remind us, Salina, if someone wanted to work with you, what are the products and services or offering? What can we do? I know you do virtual coaching, but what are the summarizing services that you offer?
I do offer virtual one-on-one coaching. And you can contact me through my page, and we can put together a plan that would work for you. But this is actually a really great time in our calendar that this interview fell, because the doors to my digital course are open this week. And that course is comprehensive, start to finish. What did you call it? Fresh faced?
Fresh face. I don't like to say,
I like that.
because I don't know, like, people refer to it as different things. Like, I don't have my hair and makeup done. Well, that's the absence of what you do. I like to say fresh face,
I
because
love
this
it.
is how I was born. I was born fresh. I was not born with makeup on. And I feel like sometimes when I come on fresh face, then when I do my hair and makeup later, people are like, wow, you look amazing. Right?
Well,
Like,
I'm going to start saying that, because I was saying blank face, and I don't like that as much. So I'm going to
fresh
start saying
face.
fresh face.
And
But
fresh face, I think we as women, you said it yourself, like, we come on and we're like, oh, I look terrible. I haven't done well, you don't look terrible. You look natural. This is how we were born. But fresh face, and then there's the enhanced, right? After you get done with your hair and makeup, you should feel like yourself, but maybe a more polished version if you enjoy putting on makeup,
yes.
right?
Well, so the digital course is comprehensive to take you from fresh faced to camera ready, and in 5 modules, to go from I don't, so for the person who's like, I am not into makeup at all, what is a blush? Like, to go from that to, I know how to put together my look for the camera in under 20 minutes. That way I can recreate my image again and again, no matter what opportunity comes up in my business for
Mhm.
me to share my message. I don't have to shy away from any camera.
Yeah.
I can say, yeah, I'm ready. I'm camera ready. Let's do this. And so
Is
that,
that the makeup for media 101 is what you're referring to?
yes.
Okay, so I see it as a button on your homepage, and I'm just gonna click onto it so folks can see what they would see if they click onto that. It'll take you to this landing page, and the class begins May 8th. So yeah, our timing is perfect. Today is
It
May
is.
2nd, so they
This
can
was,
check that out.
I know we planned this ages ago, but this was actually like really, really great timing because
Yeah,
if you like are like, you know what, I gotta own this. I gotta harness this. We gotta get our look on lock.
yeah.
This is the best, quickest, most efficient way to do that. And so 5
Mhm,
modules, very you have one-on-one access to me during the 5-week course and just all the support you need to be able to create your look and then recreate it again and again, start to finish. And one of the things I love about this is so many things are changing. And as soon as you feel like you've got a marketing, thing on lock, or a business strategy on lock, it changes.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, I just figured out the tech to that, and then they changed it.
Right,
When it
yeah,
comes to your look and your style and your colors and your application, it's one and done. You don't have to do that from scratch again. Like, you know, this is the impression I want to make and this is how I want to make it. And
mhm.
and it's not gonna change.
I love it.
But
Now, is this the same masterclass that I signed up with you, or was it a different one? I signed up as a
this
beta
is
tester. This is the
this
same
is
one,
I asked you when you and I met, I had asked you if you would be a model for me, if you would be a makeup model for me for my course, um,
right?
my webinar slides.
Yep, I remember
Yeah.
that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but this was the course that was born out of that. So thank you very much for lending me your
But I
faith.
think I signed up for it as a or as a like in your first
Oh,
10, I signed up.
you were one of my founding members.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I am in it. So it actually starts up like I'm like I feel like in the back of my mind I'm like I feel like I enrolled for something and I didn't do. I don't know if anyone else does this too. Like I enrolled in a course. Did
Yes.
I do it yet? I'm like I don't feel like I opened it yet
No.
inside there. But this is it. That's why because it wasn't opened yet. That's why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is great. This is,
Yeah.
it's going to reopen on the 8th. You could dive
Mhm.
back in and, get all
Yeah.
the benefits of that and kind of we walk through it over the course of 5 weeks and get all your questions answered. So,
That's
and your
awesome.
makeup does look great, Brenda.
Well, I just think this is such a great conversation, and I feel like sometimes we as ladies we shy away from the girly girl topics, hair and makeup and image and even things like attire and things. I sometimes it's fun just to talk about it because it's unless you go to a makeup counter and then you're feeling like they're just trying to sell me something. It's good to have an expert who's in our court who really wants us to make us feel our best and build up our confidence of being on screen. So Salina, thank you so much. Any final comments for us on harnessing the power of makeup for a more magnetic on-screen presence?
Yes. Makeup is just a skill. You do not have to have any artistic talents. You don't have to, it is a skill. And
Mhm.
women in business, I love working with women in business. If we can manage our teams, if we can systemize our businesses, if we can create offers, we can master the skill of creating our best look for the camera.
This is awesome. Well, thank you for the advice today, Selena. I know I'm going to rewatch this, and I know there's a lot of people. I think I mentioned to you in the pre-show. I'm like, there's several people who reached out and said, I can't make it live, but how do I get access to the playback? So
Great.
I'll make sure that I send them the link afterwards. But this was such a delight. I'm so glad that we crossed paths through Amy Porterfield through her Digital Course Academy. There's so many amazing course creators and so many different topics. I mean, I teach LinkedIn, you're teaching makeup. I mean, there's so many different topics that you learn from within the amazing community that's out there. So I want to thank our audience as well. And if you enjoyed the discussion, Selena and I don't get performance reviews because we work for ourselves now. So if you enjoyed this discussion, what we'd love for you to do is as soon as the video stops done playing, you can click on the share icon. And if you're on LinkedIn, you can share that along and tell people something that you learned or maybe some reason they should watch the video. tag us when you do so. Remember to tag, you use the little @ and then type in our name until you see it appearing in the drop down. And when you do that, we will also get notified that you've talked about us in a post, and we'll jump into your comments and help to jumpstart the algorithm on there. All right, Salina, well, best of luck with your course launch. I'm sure it'll be exciting, and I know you're going to teach people amazing things. And I like what you said too. It's like you're teaching them things now that are going to work for a lifetime over the course of their careers as well. So thank you for that.
Yes. Thank you for having me. This was such a treat.
This was fun. I only wish we could have done Instagram live. Unfortunately, StreamYard, and I think it's an Instagram limitation. You can only go live on Instagram through Instagram. But you know, the good thing is we've got this on the other platforms, and I think we can even clip it out and share a little bit on Instagram. I know you've got a big presence on there. What's your Instagram handle? I want to make sure to give that to folks as well.
Yes, because that's where I spend most of my digital time is on Instagram. It's Salina_about-face.
Okay, I'm going to put that into the screen right now as a banner so people can look you up there, and I'll also drop it into the LinkedIn comments so that people can check that out too. All right. Awesome. Oh no, wrong one. Why does it say this modern? Wait a minute.
What is that?
I went to your website and I think I clicked on. I don't know what just happened there. Salina_about-face. That's really weird. Let me hold on. And I always tell people I don't make mistakes. I have learning experiences, and I just had a learning experience, and I'm not even sure what happened other than it's possible I clicked on the Instagram link, and then when I went to Instagram, I clicked on something else right away. I'm not even sure, but give me a second. So it's Salina about-face.
Salina_about-face.
There we go. All right, take 2. The good thing is when I go on the podcast, that all is going to be edited out. So there we go. Salina_. All right. Awesome. Well, Salina, thank you again. It's been a delight being with you here virtually, and I hope they have the chance to meet with you again in person. But if not, I'm sure we will cross paths virtually many, many times in the future.
Yes. I look forward to it, Brenda. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Do keep in mind to share this video along and tag someone in who might be interested in comments as well. We would appreciate that. Stay safe and stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you on LinkedIn. Reminder that I'm doing this every Tuesday at 9:05 a.m., so be sure to check out my schedule for upcoming topics. All right, that's it for now. Stay safe and stay healthy. We'll see you on LinkedIn. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.